Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, getting into what has been a hot topic this week in the games industry, G4TV, and Fanbyte. I have certainly played the wait-and-see approach. You can check my uploads. I have not talked about either of these outlets, any controversy surrounding them. I very much play the wait-and-see approach when it comes to other people's jobs and the way they operate within their own outlets, within their own mediums, because for me, I believe what goes around comes around, and I don't want to start spreading that bad juju if I don't need to, but I certainly will react when the mess has occurred. And since I've taken that more patient approach here, I've been able to watch step by step as things became worse and worse for these respective outlets. And what's funny is both of these are pretty far apart. The only similarity is the layoffs. However, I do think where they connect is the severe disconnect that is occurring between modern games media and their audiences. And I will highlight specifically why. But first and foremost, we have to be respectful. I want to just extend my deepest sympathies to anyone affected by these layoffs. Certainly, it's a very uncomfortable position. However, I do need to do my job here, and I want to make sure that we have these important, tough conversations in the games industry, and I want to get into it starting off with G4TV. So, of course, when G4 was announced to be coming back, a lot of folks didn't believe in it, and rightfully so. The game has changed since G4 was back many years ago, and quite frankly, it should have stayed dead because YouTubers such as myself and many others have sort of filled in the gap that G4 had left. People have found more individualized content creators that either specialize in certain things they're looking for or have a personality that they can attach to, a vibe that they enjoy. And so they're not looking for these general TV hosts to fill that gap any longer. In fact, there's been a bit of a revolt in general when it comes to modern day media, as we've seen in the last couple of years, and games industry media has certainly seen that as well. People think they're not great representatives of what the medium's all about, that they're all about themselves. And there are some instances here that do highlight that's exactly the case. They live in a bit of a bubble. They yes men themselves, and they think that their ideas are great until they present them to the wider audience. And then they fail and go, well, why is that? It's their fault. So yes, G4, I do think, was doomed from the start, especially when they staffed up over 200 people. That was ill-advised, and someone who had a lot of money to burn must have been like, all right, let's see how it goes. And certainly we've seen the results now. Now, there are many reasons why I do think G4 TV had failed, but the most commonly discussed one has been around the main host, Indiana Black, aka Frosk. She was at the center of some controversy a couple months ago. I just have to show you this one picture here. You already know what I'm talking about. It was in this moment here. She gave out this long speech that Adam Sessler called one of the best moments he's been a part of in live television. I don't know about that, Adam. I got to be real with you, man. This was not it. But it was in this instance here that Indiana Black, Frosk, had completely alienated the audience. And take it from someone such as myself. I've done this for over a decade, believe it or not. I may be younger, but I've done this for over 10 years. You do not want to label your audience. You don't want to put them in a box just to make things easier for you to understand. And you certainly don't want to insult them. There is a way to be upfront and honest with your audience and have that dialogue without them getting insulted, without them deifying you. For those who don't know much about me, my approach to content creation is I never want my audience to deify me. Everything I say is right. Everything I say is like a mega W. I don't try to be contentious intentionally, but certainly I want my audience to feel like they can disagree with me and there's no insult in that because I don't agree with everything my audience says. Again, there's a way to express certain things without being insulting. But this example here where we see Frosk giving this speech is that bubble I was talking about where everyone in the studio is cheering her, applauding, literally in their own bubble in real time, where the rest of the audience is going, okay, hell no, I'm out. G4 now gets put in a really awkward position. Do you vindicate Frosk by letting her go right then and there? Then suddenly she may be right. She becomes a martyr of sorts, which I don't think would have ever happened. And do you support the bad gamers by firing her so ultimately she's right? Or do you do what they ended up doing, which is let her stay and you watch the network go down? Their numbers weren't great off the rip anyway. Again, this was not a good idea. So it wasn't like, again, I think Frosk was the core reason it failed. It just wasn't a good idea. But she certainly accelerated the downfall with that speech where their numbers went through the floor. I'm talking like when I first started Retro Rebound and we had not found an audience yet, I was pulling better numbers on that than they were as a collective set of hosts that have a lot of talent, a lot of pedigree. I mean, one of them is a friend of mine that I've collabed with in the past, Black Okage. I love this dude. He's a channel I've grinded in the past. Like, they got some wonderful people on the team, man. Very talented people. And the fact that I was able to pull better numbers. I've seen many YouTube channels able to pull better numbers, and I know the revenue splits. I've done this for a while. Like, they were not making much money on this. This was a sunken ship from the start. So it did begin with that, as many of us know. I don't need to beat that over the head. What happened afterwards was what we all expected. There were layoffs that occurred at G4TV. This is where the tastelessness comes in, and again, you see a degree of selfishness in modern games media, where Frost tweeted infamously, "Let's play some games, yo. I survived." Kind of spitting on the coworker's face, a very tasteless move here. I'm not acting like we got to be high class. We're a bunch of gamers. I get it, man. But when people are losing their jobs, again, take it from me, I've technically never had I put this in quotes, real job. I think YouTube and what I'm doing with my video game, all that stuff is a real job, but I've never been employed by someone. Even I have sympathy for those who have been fired, who have been laid off. I have that sympathy, and I haven't even experienced it. The fact that she has worked in this industry, likely gone through those types of ropes, and still lacks sympathy is all you really need to know about the person. Now, it was then reported by Kotaku that she would be let go following this tweet. And so, not even a week later, she says, "Thank you so much to G4TV and the talented X-Play and esports departments. Loved working with you guys. Gonna especially miss Gex." So, yes, Frost was let go. She did not survive, I put in quotes. And again, this emphasized to me the bubble that some of the media is in. Like, not all gamers are misogynistic. Not all gamers are assholes. There are those types of people in every community, sports, film and television, so on and so forth. It's not just gaming, and to act like everyone was that and then to spit on your coworker's face, like, yeah, you deserve to be let go at that point. Now, you may be wondering, how does Fanbyte connect to this situation as well? And while they're more of a capping point to the overall discussion, I did want to get into them. So for those who are unfamiliar with Fanbyte, they are one of a dozen video game outlets that did reviews, news, opinion pieces, guides, and now the website has been completely shrunken down to just guides because they've gone through another set of their own layoffs. Now here is where I need to have the tough conversation. I need to show the receipts because I just think this is, again, highlighting a bit of a disconnect where if I were to sit here and do something like this, I would not expect any of my YouTube friends to help me out because it's not a pride thing. It is an ethical thing, and I'll explain why. So there were a lot of tweets going around from Fanbyte staff saying that they needed to juice the numbers in the month of June and that they're not above cheating. Just go to Fanbyte. You don't have to read. Just click around. It would help immensely because, of course, for those who are not aware, whether it's my YouTube videos, whether it's a website, traffic means clicks. Clicks mean ads popping up. Ads mean revenue, and it means people may keep their jobs. And it's interesting, and I do feel very bad for those who work at Fanbyte because Tencent made tons and tons of money. I don't know why they needed to downsize this site at the end of the day because it was probably pocket change for them. But the reality is that modern games media is dying. People are going to smaller groups like the ones I work within at Last Stand Media. They are also going to individual content creators like I talked about with G4TV. So the media is gradually being forced out in this natural evolution of the cycle. And I'm very lucky to be on the beneficial side of it all. But the reality is, like, this is what's happening. But here again is that ethical disconnect that I think is starting to push the audience away. Not being above cheating across an entire outlet. It was not just one person who said this. It was multiple people saying, just please click around. And there were other people from various outlets. Again, I'm not going to name a million names because I'm not here trying to slander. It's, again, the ethical conversation of the fact that people were farming clicks and just saying, hey, please click. And other folks were coming in from the games industry going, hey, please do this for my friend. Hey, yeah, I got you, man. You would not catch me dead telling people, Mr. Matty, Retro Rebound, they're on the downswing. My video game I'm going to release one day. It needs more money. Please just buy it. Please just click on my stuff. There is an ethics to all of that stuff where you earn the audience's attention. That is the hard reality that a lot of these folks in games media are not receiving from the audience. You cannot just, I would say, almost swagger your way into their sub boxes, into their clicks, because you are the media. You have to earn it by being creative, by being timely. These types of things do matter by evolving your own personal platform. I look at someone as a perfect example of this as Alana Pierce. She went from media to Rooster Teeth to a video game writer to her own personal channel. These are the type of steps that I think modern games media should take because they're given a huge platform and it's something you can form with your own hands. We saw it with Kinda Funny and how they turned into with Colin's Last Stand, and in turn Last Stand Media. You get these wonderful opportunities. It's what you make of it. And that's what's not happening because there is this severe ethical, I feel, disconnect. And I genuinely believe this is why we're seeing the downfall of so many of these outlets. Not only are they just not working and not appealing to fans who are looking for the more intimate connection with a personal content creator or with a group of content creators that they want to get to know their personality. They want to get to know their taste more so they get a more accurate review, for example, of a game. But it's just, again, that they are in this bubble right now, and I hate to be the person who's coming in with the pin and going, sorry, that's not really how it works. But when you're living in that bubble for so long, someone has to come along and say, hey guys, this ain't reality. You know, it's time to wake up. Asking for clicks, saying I survived, telling everyone they're misogynistic gamers. That's talk that's on a level of that bubble. That's not representative of the entire rest of the world. People don't get a kick out of and sit there and applaud you as you talk about that. And it goes back to the point that we've said ad nauseum. Twitter isn't real life. And I don't mean to sit here and preach because, look, I am not a perfect person. I have made my mistakes. I have been an asshole in the past. I have done and said stupid stuff in the past. And I'm not saying that these people should be immune from any of that. But the reality is, when we grow as people, you cannot continue to repeat the mistakes as a medium collectively. That is just, again, a large ethical concern on my behalf. So I'm not here to lecture because, again, I'm not this perfect person, but I do think we need to have the serious conversation on where games media has headed, why they are dying, where they're ending up. It's a shame, man. I would love to see some of these folks turn it around. One of the big reasons I am where I am is because, like, I followed IGN back in my college days. I followed them so closely with Greg Miller, Colin, of course, with Andrew Goldfarb, so on and so forth. Like, I followed all these people so closely. Marty Sleva, like, these were idols, man. You know, they were so talented. I just followed them closely and loved their work. And so to me, like, that type of inspiration can still exist in modern media, but it feels like everything's become so contentious and put in this bubble. And if you're on the outside, you don't want to be on the outside of the bubble, because if you are, you get pushed out, you get less opportunity. It's a very competitive space. It's already hard enough to crack in the games industry, let alone if you don't match their ethics, their politics, as you've heard before, so on and so forth. It's a scary game out there, man. It's why it's become tougher and tougher to crack in. So again, best wishes to those who have lost their positions at either of these companies. But I wanted to offer my thoughts on a topic that I have been, you can say if you don't like my thoughts, but I have been 100% patient. I've let the thoughts marinate, develop. I've sat on them. It's like, okay, it's video time. We've seen a lot of layoffs. We've seen pretty much the downfall of all these outlets that have recently been erected. Let's talk. And so here we are. So that's all I have to personally say about this. I'm looking forward to seeing your thoughts in the comments down below. As I said earlier, whether you agree or disagree with me, that is totally fine. I'm just looking forward to seeing the interaction down below. Let's keep it respectful. And with that, I will catch all of you in the next video. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support the hell out of the content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.